Good evening, everybody. One second here, trying to get this worked out. There we go. Trying to avoid echoes. Card Room Live, session 40. Can you believe it that we've done this 40 times? I sure can't. Seems like there's a conversation that's already been happening in here. That's great. You guys didn't wait for me. Good. Good to see people already in here. Yeah, thank you for getting this out of the way. They may not be relevant at all to what we're going to do today. So I'm glad you got that out of the way right off the bat. If you're new to the Card Room Live experience, welcome to you. I hope you'll make yourself known in the chat. Introduce yourself. Whether you have a YouTube channel or not, it's a great opportunity to meet other collectors. Whether you're on YouTube or on Twitter or elsewhere, Instagram. If you're a collector, introduce yourself. It's always nice to meet new collectors, and I think you'll find that everybody that's in the chat is a stand-up person and a good person to know in terms of just this hobby of ours. So I encourage you to introduce yourself. If you're new to this live stream, one of the things I always like to mention is that this live stream is pretty random. I hope it's random in a good way. Sometimes we have themed topics of conversation. Sometimes guests will come on. Sometimes it's just me. But it's really just an opportunity to create an environment for everybody to get together and chat. It is somewhat random, though. Like I said, sometimes we have a themed topic, and we do have one tonight that I want to try. But sometimes it's really just whatever happens, whatever people want to look up on eBay or elsewhere, or if somebody wants to hop in and have a conversation on the live stream with me, it's really just sort of whatever happens. And it's totally random and kind of awkward and drawn out. And I like to think that those are assets as opposed to problems. That's what I tell myself anyway. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get something out of it. For those of you that might be listening later, I hope it is entertaining and interesting in some way, passes the time, maybe on the way home from work or to work or when you're walking the dog or what have you. And as always, if you have anything that you would like for us to do on this, although we're very anti planning, I will say if you have any ideas or you want to share any thoughts or anything, please feel free to leave a comment on the video once the video is posted. You can leave a comment in the chat, but I may or may not see it. I will certainly see the comments though, so I encourage you to do that. I also always offer the invitation to anybody who's interested to reach out to me and let me know if you would like to be added to the text thread. There's a text thread for this live stream, and it's not an exclusive thread. It's whoever wants to be in that thread. And initially, it was sort of just to give advance notice if I was going to go live, but it's also just a thread for collectors to share whatever's going on, in their hobby life, just like we're doing tonight. So that's the idea behind it. I see a bunch of comments flying by. So let's see what's going on. Lots of good people in here. Orlando's in here. Carlisle. Rick is in here. Hello, Rick. Hey, Dom. Good to see you. Chasing Majors. Hello. Um, is that because you want to know when he's here because that's when you're interested in being in here, or is that when you want a clue as to like check out? Hey, Brent. Um, I made this comment on Because I'm Carlos's channel. I still can't get over how much a piece of cardboard goes for 5, 6, 7 figures in what seems hourly in this hobby. There's all kinds of stuff going on out there in this hobby of ours, isn't there? Eddie, you made it. So glad to see you, man. Reese is here. Oh, well, there he is. There he is. Don's here, everybody. John, take this information and do what you will with it. Okay, so what I wanted to focus on tonight. I don't know that this is going to be a super long one. I mean, they're usually like an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. This one might be even shorter than that. But what I wanted to do is look around and check out some what I'm calling oversized cards, like not standard size cards. Like exhibits would be a good example. Postcards would be a good example. Anything that's sort of not considered a standard baseball card. And for anybody that's new to this stream, we tend to focus on vintage here. Lately, we've been kind of talking about the 60s and the 70s, although that to me is not vintage. I mean, it is, of course, but like for me, I'm more of a 50s guy and backwards, pre-war. But you know, whatever, we can talk about it all. But we don't really talk about modern on this stream. So if you're a modern collector, you're welcome to hang around, but we ain't looking at any parallels or rainbows on this stream. So I hope you don't get disappointed. So yeah, I wanted to look at like large format cards. I have a website pulled aside that I thought would be a good starting point. There's a lot of stuff on here, some of which I've never seen before. So I thought it would be just kind of fun to look. And it's more of like a directory. It's not eBay. It's not, I'm not looking at anything necessarily to purchase. I'm just sort of looking at it to inform myself because there's a lot of this stuff that I've never seen before. I don't know much about. It's kind of like looking through an REA catalog or something, except it's not an auction house. It's just a website that was put together to look at cards. So we'll start with that, I think, and see how that goes. But I'll also extend an offer to anybody that's in the chat tonight. If you have any oversized cards, exhibits, or postcards, or anything that we'll throw photographs in there too. Anything that you would like to share. And if you want to hop into the live stream, I'll share the live stream link here in a little bit. And if you can hang around and you want to show what you have, that would be cool because it would be nice to actually see some pieces from the community of this kind of stuff. I don't have any handy at the moment, but it would be cool to see some of your stuff. So if you do have any any large format material, now's the time to go grab it and get your stuff ready. And let's say in the next, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so, we'll see if anybody has anything that they want to share in the live stream. Okay. It was good to see you, John. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this website, and I just totally randomly came across this website. I'm not endorsing this website. I don't know this website. I was literally just a couple days ago when I was thinking about doing this. I don't remember what I typed in when I was doing a random search, and came across this site, and it's called vintageball.com. Maybe some of you guys know it. But I really came across this section which is called player postcards, and I kind of poked around a little bit, but I thought this would be a good place for us to start. So I'll share my screen here, and we can take a look. Okay, so here it is. Like I said, it's called vintageball.com. Again, I have zero idea whether or not, this is I'm not endorsing this or anything. I maybe it's cool. We'll find out, I guess, together. Um, but I came across this page when I did a search, and I just started poking around on it, and I said, "Oh, this might be fun to kind of look at as a group." It says the player postcard gallery showcases pre-World War II postcards of Major League Baseball players and teams in chronological order, which is nice. Nearly all of the cards featured are printed cards issued by an array of publishers. A select few are actually real photo cards that are, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So let's see what we got here. I'm not going to go through each and every one of these. I'll just sort of click on the ones that jump out at me. And if anybody sees something that they want to focus on, go ahead and shout it out in the comment. This one's kind of interesting. Freddie Parent. Here, let me. I'll click on it so you guys can see it, and I'll read it. Let me. I'm gonna see if I can do this. Vintageball.com. I'll get this up on my other monitor here. I should have thought about this before. Vintage Ball. And this is what? Postcards. Player cards. Okay, here we go. So you're looking at Freddie Parent. Freddie Parent was the first Red Sox shortstop and one of the stars of the 1903 World Series and 1904 pennant-winning team. And he's shown here in this undivided back postcard. A Maine native, this card showcases Parent's new house. I just thought that was it's kind of funny. It's like, okay, here's this baseball player, and here's this new house that he got. Isn't that fascinating? It's a little bit of like tabloid sort of media back in the early 1900s. Freddie Parent. How about this one? This 1905 team card of the Indians was issued by the Cleveland Souvenir Postcard Shop and spotlights such stars as Napoleon Lajoie, Addie Joss, and Elmer Flick. Some of these photos were used in the T206 set and the Colgan's Chips set. That's definitely immediately apparent with Lajoie, especially. Yeah, this website doesn't have like the backs necessarily. (1905) Philadelphia Athletics team card captures the entire pennant-winning team. Rube Waddell, Chief Bender, Eddie Plank, and Harry Davis, with some of their loyal rooters in the background. That's awesome. That's such a great shot. The team photo with some fans in the background. That's great. Can see Waddell right here. Here's Bender over here, Chief Bender. Plank. A lot of team cards. (1907) Brooklyn Superbas team card with Knapp Rucker, Charles Ebbets, Patsy Donovan, and others. Let's see. Doesn't really tell you the order of, like, it doesn't really give you a good direction on who's who here. But that's pretty cool. Charles Hercules Ebbets is in there. This is the 1907 to 1909 Detroit Tigers issue, which were issued by H.M. Taylor. Here's Ty Cobb up to bat. Huey Jennings with a really bizarre photo treatment. They tried to like brighten up his eyes because of how much the shadows had darkened them, and that was a bad idea. It's really, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's really an unpleasant unpleasant photograph. Wahoo Sam Crawford. Yes, yes, possessed eyes and all. Okay, it looks like a few of you guys have some stuff ready to go. So now that I've freaked you out with Huey Jennings, I'm gonna put the link in here, and anybody that wants to hop on, you're welcome to. Kind of a show and tell thing going on. And anybody who's, it's the kind of thing where if you want to hop on, show what you've got, and hop off, that's totally fine. Nobody has to feel obligated to stick around, but that's entirely up to you. Yeah, Sam Crawford. We were talking about Sam Crawford with Reese when he did his sort of Hall of Fame tour, and I made a mental note, like I don't have any Sam Crawford cards, and I really need to pick some up. And there's Reese himself. Yeah. Yeah, you never know what you're going to see, right? It's like the early days of Photoshop, and it didn't quite work out. So the StreamYard is in the chat, guys, for anybody that wants to give it a shot. We'll just wait here in silence, because that's how this live stream goes. I really like this. I like this website, I have to say, just in terms of the amount of material it has. It's a lot of great stuff to look at. Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think it's been fun so far. And there's a ton of stuff on here. I mean, it just keeps going. Yes, Brent, that's another um, great website. I actually have that bookmarked on my Google search page. So this is a great, and we've talked about this site in the past. Preworkcards.com is a great site that just has a directory of all the different types and a kind of a basic description of what that set was like and who manufactured it and how many cards and what the variations are and so on. Um, I didn't see the Hal Chase tab. So while we're waiting for people to come in, maybe they're like taking a leak or putting on their makeup. Published by the Raymond Kahn Company in Cleveland, this very scarce 1907 card depicts Hall of Fame second baseman and Cleveland manager Napoleon Lajoie. That's a cool looking shot there. I really love the look of this shot. This is a photo card, 1908 photo card of um, Roger Bresnahan, George Gibson, and an unknown player in spring training at Hot Springs, Arkansas. I mean, that's the kind of photo that I enjoy. It's like it's not even necessarily about the players, just about the historical context of it. Oh man, I hope you guys all know about these. The 1908 to '09 Rose Company postcards. These are so cool. Um, there's a whole set of these. There's only 3 images apparently on this site. But yeah, it says here there's 200 major league players on the checklist. It says the Rose Company issued what is arguably the most beautiful and ornate pre-linen baseball postcard series in 1908 and 1909. The portrait photos are surrounded by round gold embossed frames with crossed gold embossed bats and white base paths against a field of green. Um, yeah, these things are so uh, striking, I think. I've seen a few like throwback references to this design in like with like modern players. Um, there's some big names in this set too. I think there's a Cobb. Um, I'm forgetting who else is in it, but yeah, they're pretty great. 1907 Morgan Stationery Red Belt cards. I first learned about these from Andrew Nuffsaid Cards. Um, Morgan Stationery Co. of Cincinnati issued the first ever color postcard set of baseball players showcasing the hometown Reds and their opponents. I'm going to just take a look at one of these cards. This might be my favorite from all of them. But we'll come back to this later because Dom is here.
What's going on, Alex?
What's up? How are you?
Doing pretty well. I've been meaning to hop on one of these, but as soon as you said oversized cards, I was just like, well, that's kind of something I really like. So
is that your sweet spot?
It's definitely one of them. For
okay.
Sure.
Okay.
It definitely gravitates me towards the photography on a lot of them, and that kind of started with the 64 Topps Giants.
Sure. Yeah. Here, let me.
So they're beautiful. I got all the Hall of Famers in this set.
How did you first find out about that set? Did you just was it at a show or did you see it online, or how did you first see it?
Yeah, this was one that I actually found my mantle and a Whitey Ford at a flea market locally. And I was just like, oh, these are really cool. And I looked up to them. They are still very affordable, but at the time especially were. And it was something that I really loved, the newspaper on the back and how you can kind of like read a story about them instead of just this player won this award in this year next to the little cartoon on the back of a card. So that was definitely like my thing that got the ball rolling with oversized cards. But I got stuff from all different kinds of decades, not quite as old as you were just showing, but
sure.
Yeah.
So how long ago did you find those at the flea market?
Probably 7-8 years ago.
Oh wow. So that's fantastic. So that was that was a good time to be looking at baseball cards.
No, definitely.
Cool. So you said you have all the Hall of Famers then?
Yeah, I got the whole brick of them. I've shown them in videos before, but I figured I'd just have them out. They're all really affordable. Like the mantles definitely went up a lot.
Right.
But the only ones that are tough are Koufax and Mays because they're SPs.
Right.
So those always have a premium, but they're just great cards. I mean,
do you have a favorite or like which ones are your go-tos? I mean, that Koufax, I want that one for sure.
The Koufax definitely, I think, has the best image because a lot of them are headshots, and this is like Koufax at the height of his powers.
Right.
But there's really just great ones, and I mean, flipping through. Donald like that one, Frank Robinson kneeling with the bat. And they're just great. I mean, there's the Willie Mays.
Yeah.
But I think that's just like a great introduction for anybody that's getting into vintage. They're just super affordable, really good, colorful photos. And the checklist, it's a pitcher, infielder, and outfielder from each of the 20 teams. So 60 cards, and over 20 of them are Hall of Famers. So it's like a really good percentage there where you're going to find stars regardless.
And it's not a set that's like going to bum you out because it's like 500 cards or something and you'll never finish it. Like it's doable, right?
Oh, no, definitely. I've been tempted to do the whole set because I do love them that much. But the SPs that aren't Hall of Famers, it just hurts for me to pay a premium for those.
Sure.
So I haven't completed the whole thing yet, but Tony Oliva was one where I didn't have him because he wasn't currently in the Hall of Fame, and I had to like go out and get that one like as soon as he got inducted.
Right. Well, I don't know. It sounds like it might happen someday. Building that whole set. So what else do you have?
I mean, you were showing stuff a little before this, but that's a 39 Gaudy Premium. There we go. Arky Vaughn. And this again, like the back of some of these old cards, the blank backs are fine, but showing like how to do a play and all that stuff is just really cool. It really makes the cards feel like the history Americana instead of just like you said, collecting pictures of men on cards.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy that kind of stuff.
That's fantastic.
It's fine. I wasn't sure if photos were in play as like oversized stuff.
Yeah.
Because I got.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a team issue. Bob Feller from 48.
That's a classic shot. Yeah. And is that a facsimile or is that actually signed by him?
So this one is the facsimile. I actually have the 49 as well. And the 49 has the facsimile here, but this one's also Beckett authenticated. Best
Oh,
wishes,
great.
Bob Feller signed as well.
Great.
But the photo game has really been, I've been seeing it rise lately. Like the Satchel Paige from these team sets from Cleveland back in the day have been going crazy. And people are starting to really kind of appreciate photos more, I think, lately.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna let we got another YouTuber in here. John, what's up?
What's up,
Hey,
John?
how are you guys? You all right?
Doing good. Yeah.
Hey, I was walking the dog and I briefly caught what Dom said about discovering the 64 Tops Giants.
Yeah.
Are you telling me, Dom, that you found out there was a Mantle and a Ford before you found out that there was a Yaz in there?
Oh, don't worry, man. I got the Yaz. I have a graded one and a raw one.
Okay. I mean, the Yaz should have been your first.
It should have been,
right?
but
That's weird.
Connecticut's
great,
kind
though.
of a swing state, man. We
I've
got
heard
Yankees
that.
fans all over.
I didn't want to interrupt Dom, but when he's done, I do want to show you these other ones that are pretty wild.
Go
No,
ahead.
John, go for it. Yeah.
So these baseball highlights, right? 1960.
Yes.
So there's those, but it essentially it tells the story of baseball. And here's one for you right here, card number 4. It tells you how the box score was devised by a reporter, and its timeline is 1859, South Brooklyn, June 15th, 1859. So it has some great cards in there, right? Babe is in there, 3 home runs, a series game. It's got mantles. It's got everything. So I know it's 1960, but it tells the story of baseball.
It's like all sorts of highlights and stuff throughout the years, right?
Yeah, and it's pretty. Everybody's in there. Carl Hubble striking out 5. Our guy Pete Alexander.
Yeah.
So this is a great set. The backs are kind of generic. It has trivia questions on all that stuff, but man, it's oversized. But I have a confession. I have not read all of them yet, and I don't know why I haven't. I'm going on a plane trip tomorrow. Maybe I'll take them on the airplane with me and read them.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
good conversation starter.
It's a great set, and everybody's in there. Mantle's in there, Cy Young's in there, Ted Williams, all that stuff. So it's kind of a rare bird, but it does tell the history of baseball, which is kind of cool.
Right. This is a great comment here from Sports History Collector. The highlights are great to use in a display for a player or an event. Yeah.
Sure.
Great idea.
Ted Williams hits 406, right? That's card number 39. And of course, being trumped, card 38 is DiMaggio's 56-game streak. So Ted Williams couldn't get away from DiMaggio that year at all, right? Even in this set, he was robbed of the MVP. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I know how Dom feels about it. But you're kind of neutral, Alex. How do you feel about that Ted Williams 1941 season? No comment?
I mean, I just love that it happened. I'm not on one side or the other. I just, I love the competition.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's one of those rare things in baseball that happens in one season. And nobody knew, I guess it was the last time somebody would hit 400. That's for sure. Or he would have won that hands down. Right.
Right.
So how do you feel about, I had this, you show off a lot of early pre-war cards, and I look at that era. I'm a huge Ty Cobb fan, right?
Yeah.
Even he's kind of, his Q rating's gone up a little bit here with some of these books that have come out. I think of it as a different game though, and almost a different sport.
Totally.
I feel that DiMaggio, Williams, Sandy Koufax could play today, no problem. I'm not so sure about some of the other guys. I'm not so sure about, Cobb would find a way to win, but I'm not sure about the Lajoies and all the other guys because it was a completely different game back then. So it's almost like I'm looking at something different when you show that really, really old stuff.
No, I totally agree. I also, though, wonder if guys today would have tolerated the game that Cobb played.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. When I read those books, it makes baseball today feel like the Disney World version of baseball,
Yeah.
and just in terms of the intensity of it.
That's a good point, right? I mean, the spitball was still allowed up until whatever,
Yeah, and
1920.
just like the collisions in general were not like surprising. That was part of the game.
And even with fans, right? Cobb
Yeah.
was known to go into the stands, and I think that I'm an advocate that should still happen.
Yeah,
You should still be able to go to the stands and beat the hell out of a fan if you have to.
I mean, it slowly but surely became family friendly, which is, I mean, not a bad thing, and it made sense, marketing wise. But the family friendly, maybe the downside of that was a lot of the, athleticism got muted.
What do you feel about? Are you still reading? And I haven't done it yet. The Chalmers book. I mean, that could never happen now, right? Throwing that last, what was it, 8 bunt hits to third base by Lajoie.
Oh wait, which book is that?
Chalmers one, the one about the race between Cobb and Lajoie.
Oh, I don't have that book.
You know the story about that. That the Lajoie on the last day of the season, right?
Yes, that they tried to artificially get him to
8 bunts.
Cobb. Yeah.
8 bunts to third base to a guy that was playing deep.
Yeah.
All 8 times. So that's another thing. And there was, from what I've gathered, there was also people would pitch in and help, try to get even like the people from the other team would pitch in money wise and help people get over the line on different things, whether it's wins or strikeouts or hits or whatever. It's kind of like they'd pass the hat, and it's just some crazy stuff that happened back then, as you say.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful piece of history, but it seems like just a different game altogether.
For sure. I mean, if that was happening now, everybody would just flip their shit, but it's fun to read about. It's really fun to read about.
The game is a vessel to distribute beer and nacho sales now, and advertise Fox's fall season and all that fun stuff. It seems like. So, what other cards we got? I didn't mean to bring everybody down.
No, you're good.
Oh no, I mean I got just a bunch of stacks here.
Go for it. Go for it.
Matter. I know John
got nothing. So
John was talking about the top supers.
Yeah, look at that, man.
I got both the Yaz's.
70 and
69's not oversized.
That's 71 right there
on my radar. Yeah, this one's 71.
Yep, and that's 70.
That's a 70.
Yeah, gorgeous. Great cards, and they're thick stock, right? I mean, that's one thing I love about them is they're thick cards, and
kids could play with these ones.
Yeah. Imagine getting those, and how many? I don't recall. I should know this. How many came in a pack? I don't know whether it was 1 or 2 or 3, but imagine getting a pack of that. 2. Man, that's crazy. It's a shame the bubblegum wasn't oversized too. It wasn't in proportion to the cards. That would have been awesome.
Get that whole wheel of bubblegum.
That is a good idea.
Alex, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Actually, you brought up the comment about did they both get cars? I think they both got cars, but one of the weird things about that race back then is nobody really knew who was batting what because the records were so sketchy.
Right.
And I think, they were obviously, we know the official scorer is still the home team's guy and all that stuff. But I think that every game, the official scorer kept score, and they didn't necessarily share it. So,
Sure.
I mean, not only was the information not free flowing because of the technology, but I think it was a guy's book up in the press box, and,
right.
And that was it. And from what I gather, nobody knew what anybody was hitting the last week of the season, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we tend to look at all that stuff from the lens of how we take for granted how things run now. And it's like, yeah, you're right. It was all just sort of fly by the seat of your pants. However, that particular person kept the records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think about, I know it's supposed to be about the cards, but I have so many questions.
It's all good.
What do you think about, here's another thing about that game, Wagner and Cobb had all these hits and Lajoie. How many of those were hits and how many were because the fielders were wearing oven mitts? the gloves. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I'm always curious about that. The gloves got better, obviously, through the years. Wonder how many hits went by because of that stuff.
The gloves, the bats changed, the
The
baseballs
bats.
changed.
Yeah, that's true. The baseballs, actually, one of the problems with the old days is they didn't change the baseballs, right?
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Throw the ball back. We still need the ball
I
for the
guess the
game.
rules changed is what
Yeah, but no, you're right though. The baseball is a little springier now than it used to be.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's always fun to kind of compare and contrast, but I tend to like, I don't know, when I read the different eras, that Cobb era is always really fascinating because the intensity that I pick up on from what the players talk about, it just seems so different. There's like this sort of cutthroat feel to it. Maybe that's just Cobb, but
yeah. Well, it was also a different class of people playing the game too, right?
Yeah,
Cobb was actually pretty uptown compared to most. I mean, his father, was educated and was an educator himself. So it's
Right.
interesting that most of these people were either country folk or later on the immigrants would come into the game, right? Irish and
Right.
Italian immigrants.
Yeah, avoiding the coal mines and
Yeah.
other jobs.
Mike, the sports history collector, has something there that I absolutely have been trying and dying to get. And that's the Chem Toy Super Balls. They're so tough to find. You could buy them on eBay, but they're expensive.
Chem Toy Super Bowl. I don't even know.
You got to look that up, man. Look that up, Alex. It's such a boy thing from the 60s and 70s. I think it was 1970 was the year.
Let's do it.
There's a Ted Williams in there, but I think he's a manager for the Senators and Killebrews. And I know I see the Twins sets a lot for some reason in the Senators sets, but I don't see.
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty wild, or what, man?
Yeah, I mean, now I totally forgot about the concept of this, but I don't think I ever saw the baseball version. I saw like other stuff.
Yeah. Pretty look at that. How cool is that?
Wow.
How do you get that slabbed? Where do you send that to, man?
That's
a lot of those would yellow and fog up too, which can make them definitely even tough when you find them.
It's rubber, and you're supposed to play with them,
right?
You're supposed to play with them too, right? Like, how could you not bounce that thing as soon as you got them?
Tom, terrific! Wow.
Look at that. I mean, that's. I imagine that's an auction for $40. Or is that a buy it now?
Buy it now for 52.
Yeah, they're pretty pricey, and there's a lot of them. I think it's a pretty big set from what I gather. But look at that.
They light up pretty well too.
Yeah, and no glare when you're showing them off. Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, those are fun. I need to get me some of those, and they're pretty pricey, for sure.
That's fun. I definitely never saw those.
Yeah, I think they're Japanese, maybe. I mean, I don't know where they were distributed, but when I do Chem Toy, something from Japan comes up a lot. So.
Cool.
It's about as odd size as you can get right there.
Yeah.
What about the 50s? I guess why did Bowman change their sizes so much between 49 and 53, I guess, or 52? Well, 53 they settled, right?
I think so. I mean, honestly, I think it was probably, I'm not sure, but I would imagine it was just the competition, just sort of like trying to figure out how to react to tops.
Yeah, but 50 and 50, 49, 50 and 51 were kind of different. 52, like I always look over my shoulder and have to look, but yeah, it's weird. I mean, Tops came in with the big guys, but Tops also in 51 had the small ones, right?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of those. I've been looking at those a lot recently. They kind of get overlooked.
They do, yeah. Moynihan gave me my first one, which was great. I ran an errand for him, so they're fun, real fun.
Dom, anything else?
Oh, I got cards. I mean,
Go
they
for
put
it.
them on Super Bowls. They put them on Milk Dud
Duds.
boxes.
Yes.
I got Catfish Hunter and Tommy John.
So that Catfish, did he have his A's on his hat? Because it looked like it was airbrushed. Or
Yeah, it's very faint,
okay,
but you can see it. It talks about his no-hitter in
I got
1968 underneath.
those are cool. Are those yellow, Dom? Or are they like
They're like a tan.
tan? Okay, because Milk
Yeah.
Dud is usually darker, brighter yellow, I guess. Later on. What do those go for, if you don't mind me asking? Those Milk Duds.
I got the Tommy John for literally $20 on eBay, which I was thrilled because I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. But the Hall of Famers, when it's a full box, I mean, it kind of just depends on the condition. They can be $40, $50 and up, depending on the grade.
Do you prefer? I mean, obviously you prefer a whole box, but are you opposed to buying a just a cutout or no?
I have a few of the cutouts. It's just depending on price and what comes across my way. Definitely.
Is there anything on the backs of the cutouts, or are they just front?
Yeah, on the backs of the cutouts, just the inside of the box. So
Okay.
there's nothing on the back.
Dom, you might be able to charge Mike a pretty penny.
You should have told me you paid $100 for it, and you could.
I didn't realize this was a sale. I mean, I would have traded this differently. So,
how
yeah,
many
I mean,
were in that set? Do we think the Milk Duds?
I forgot what it was. I think it's 60 something boxes.
And how many? What year is that? 69,
71.
70. That's a 71, and Catfish is still wearing the old vest, huh?
Yeah.
So many regional issues. I don't know whether that's the case with the Milk Duds, but so many things you can only get in some places. Did you mention you talked about the post stuff, Alex? Did you actually talk about it?
No, we have not looked at anything. Do you have any nearby?
Yeah, I can go get some.
Yeah.
I have a bunch.
I'm still kind of digging through this site. The red belts. The red belts are pretty interesting. So Dom, what are you eyeing right now? Is there anything that you're looking at?
I actually discovered a new oversized set about a week back, and I have one that just came in the mail. I'm going to be doing a video on it this week.
Awesome.
But just trying to find out about new stuff. Like John said, there's so many regional things.
Yeah.
That if you weren't from around the area, you might not even understand like the company or that they were issuing stuff. So just digging and finding new stuff where I can.
And the regional thing is like, I mean, if you're in that area, there's a whole other way to find stuff that doesn't involve eBay. It's just, like you said, flea markets and stuff like that, where people don't necessarily even know what they have. And there's a deal to be had there if you look enough.
Got a stack of 61s, 62s, and 63s, but there's also football directly competed with baseball that back then in the post stuff, and they're almost identical cards. So it's kind of surprising because football kind of did their own thing. I don't know whether you know Tommy McDonald, but I got him in there, old Eagles Hall of Famer. But yeah, football competed, but there's some short prints in the top in the baseball ones. I happened upon one. I had a guy pick as a deal maker, pick a couple postcards out of one of his dollar boxes, and he threw them in. And one of the ones was a short print, which was, like $100 card in excellent shape, which surprised me. And I don't know the difference between the mail-in ones and the cutout ones. I'm sure if I looked at all of them, it would be obvious, but I mean, they're blank backs. But you can obviously cut them off the box, or you can mail in and get the set, and there is a different price point for each one out there on the secondary market. So yeah, fun stuff.
It's a reminder to me of like, I don't know, it's kind of a bummer because that was like the heyday of like baseball especially, but also I think football, like being so tied to the culture, especially for kids, and it's like cereal and my baseball cards like that. Like I grew up with that still in the 80s, and it's just a little sad that it's not quite the same.
Or cereal baseball cards.
Oh wait, hold on. Fantastic. Yes.
Wheaties, Billy Herman.
I'm a huge fan of the Wheaties.
The colors on this thing got me, man.
Yeah.
What year is that, Dom?
I believe it's 36.
Because the Wheaties I have are a lot smaller than that, obviously.
Right, the cards. These are just like off the backs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the entire back. There's nothing else on there indicating that it's a Wheaties box, huh? Like, there's so much crap on the cereal box now. There's absolutely nothing on there other than the picture. And
right, yeah, the player's name, yeah.
And have you seen any of those whole boxes out there, anybody? A whole Wheaties box like that? Like, who would save that back then? It's crazy.
There are, I've seen a few, but yeah.
It's Depression era stuff, right? Like, you didn't have there was no frivolity back then. My dad was born in 32, and he had like one pair of shoes that he would get every 3 years, and they were shoes. They weren't sneakers. Like, that's the way it was. There wasn't room for any of the other stuff.
Reese, love the scene in The Sandlot where the cereal box with the cards on the box is shown. Reese, you've got eagle eyes. I don't remember that.
They did a good job with the details. Yeah.
How hard would it be for baseball or any of these sports to take the initiative and put cards and food products again, just to generate some hype and some fans? I know your 6-year-olds don't drink beer, but man, that's how you get people following sports. It worked for us, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea.
It would cost them $0, and the aisles would be filled with kids again, searching for cereal boxes and stuff like that, and Hostess Twinkies and stuff like that.
Right, and they can do. I know that MLB is aware of the explosion with cards because I'll see these articles on MLB.com of like tying players to baseball cards, and like there's a lot of marketing connection there. So why aren't they making more of a deal out of that? Like there could be like exclusive releases at games, or I don't know, partner with certain brands that are like targeting adults.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's so simple. I hear a lot of stories, and I talk to people about, what was your first experience with cards, all that stuff. And oddly enough, I don't remember mine, but I do remember every time I went to a Little League game or practice, I could buy packs of cards at the snack bar there. Right. And talk about a captive audience.
Yeah.
I think every April when Little League starts out, every kid should get a pack of cards. That should be somebody standing there as they do their opening day ceremonies, and everybody gets a pack of cards. There's so many simple things to grow the fan base and to regenerate the hobby, for sure.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Hey, Josh.
Nothing to do with oversized cards, though.
Yeah, it's all good. It starts with something and goes in weird places. Produce commercials this spring pushing Top Series 1. Okay.
And they're in Wawa.
Is trying harder. I think they put cuts of like Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, Roberto Clemente in Series 1, which is like not a high-end hobby box. So like they're trying to grow the game even at the smaller levels.
Who are you attracting there, though, Dom? You're attracting sharks. You're not attracting minnows. It
could be a mom and pop shop that sells it to a kid, and he pulls a Babe Ruth or a Roberto Clemente or something, and that's just a fan for life right there.
And you and I know it's probably the guy that's walking into that shop with a scale that's gonna get that cut, right? Unfortunately, I'm from Negadelphia. That's how I think, but it's like just there's so many ways they get the cards in the kids' hands. $5 a pack for Series 1 at my LCS. That's why we look at tobacco cards. And here's one for you, Alex. Pre-war, why is 1933 Gaudy considered the rookie card for all of those people?
You got me. That's not my area at all. I wish it were.
Because you look at that 33 Gaudy set, that's Babe Ruth's rookie, Gehrig's rookie, everybody's rookie. For some reason, the RC starts there, and I don't know why that is. I don't know whether it's because it's a wholesome product like gum and not tobacco, but and I don't know who came up with that, but that is the case. The rookie card. So when you see Babe Ruth's Baltimore rookie card from whatever year, it's not really the rookie card. What year is that? 1914 or 1916? That people are talking about now.
Right.
I have so many questions in this head. And you know what killed baseball initially is the Beatles. Like that era of the late, the 50s and the early 60s with these postcards and all that stuff. Like, man, rock and roll may have killed the baseball card at one point.
Orlando is saying that they were the only widely distributed cards at the time. That might be the reason. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me too. I don't know. I don't know I don't know who decided that, because obviously the tobacco cards were widely distributed, but obviously not to kids. So just for reference, 240 cards in that set, and Beckett's saying 238 of them are RCs, which is crazy. Hey, Don's back.
What's funny about the tobacco cards is that kids collected those anyway and would like pester people outside of the tobacco store for the cards. So, I mean, they had their cut of the cards.
Yeah.
Everything's tied to Yoko.
Oh, Yoko. You ain't lying, that's for sure.
What did you think of that documentary, John? Did you see that? Was that like last year or 2 years ago?
The Beatles one?
Yeah.
It was interesting because it was like two different movies, right? There was the studio not Twickenham, whatever the studio is, Shepperton Studios. And obviously John was strung out, right?
Yeah.
But then when they went to Apple headquarters and it was just a different band altogether. Which is amazing, right? You got to see the greatness. Not that we doubted it, but you got to see the greatness, and it was the enthusiasm. It was awesome.
Did you see it, Dom?
I did see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So good. I definitely that like reinvigorated my appreciation for sure, just to see how that all, and like the footage, just incredible. Like so crystal clear.
Think about that, like the foresight to do that when nobody was doing that.
Right.
I mean, they had given up the road. I guess Candlestick was the last place that they played, oddly enough, which is kind of cool. Candlestick Park, whatever that was, 65. So they had given up live performances, but yet it kind of nearly bankrupted them because they spent a lot of money on crazy stuff, recording techniques that would never work, and soundboards and wireless electricity and all that stuff. But they thankfully that stuff panned out, the footage.
Yeah And such a good job of cleaning up the audio, and you could hear stuff like, because I remember reading something that like the guys, because they knew they were being recorded, they would just wail on the guitar to hide whatever they were saying, but they had mics set up so that they were able to still hear them no matter what.
Yeah, the first part is like the Beatles then, right? Like the breakups. I think Ringo left the band, or George left the band at one point in the first part of the series thing, and then like I said, the last part you see the greatness, and oh yeah, that's what it was all about, man. These guys were they were amazing, that's for sure.
Yeah. Card Room Live, everybody. The Beatles.
Yeah. There's two kinds of people in the world. Dom, you might not know this, but there's Lennon people and McCartney people. I figure Alex is a McCartney guy. I'm Lennon all the way.
I don't know. I might be Lennon too, but honestly,
Okay.
I mean, I know this is not part of the equation, but George Harrison, I'll listen to George Harrison stuff probably more than those two guys.
Yeah, imagine the quiet one in a group. It's like the Foo Fighters, right? Like the Foo Fighters. You didn't think, or Nirvana. You didn't think the best musician in the band was the drummer, right?
No.
Same thing with Harrison. Harrison comes out and does his thing. Even the Wilburys. You listen to the Traveling Wilburys when they come on. It's such a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Lennon person.
Yeah, I'm a Lennon to me is like the Ty Cobb of music, and I'm fully on board there, man. I love the Ty Cobbs and the Ted Williams of the world.
Right.
They're not messing around. They just
if Lennon is Cobb, who's McCartney then?
Christy Mathewson. A good one there, right?
Man, you had it like you just had it right away. That's great.
Or somebody's name who drives me crazy, and people who know me know this. Steve Garvey. That's another. No, I'm not a Steve Garvey guy at all. I'm a Reggie Jackson guy. So they're the complete polar opposites. But McCartney's talent is unparalleled. Obviously, he pulled that. He pulled that band after a certain. Look at that. You got both of them, Dom? Because there's two of them.
There's different color variations.
Orange, yeah. There's two of those, and there's 4 Schmidts.
Yeah, I have a Schmidt as well.
Yeah.
I
love those things, man. They're so hard to store. I have them in like a Tupperware, but there's so much. It's so 70s right there. Buy some Pepsi, and we're going to give you a baseball player. MSA, Mike Schechter Associates. All those discs that he put out back then. Ringo's
the Don Mossy.
That's right on so many levels. Sure. Or Yogi, right? Maybe Yogi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that isn't almost as odd as the Chem Toy Super Balls, those Pepsi glove discs.
Yeah.
You can't put them anywhere. You've done a good job there, but you've got a lot of negative space on that too, right? Like there's a lot more black on that page than there is baseball card.
I know, definitely.
And that set has an overabundance of Cleveland Indians in it. For some, I guess it's a regional thing, but there's a lot of Cleveland Indians in that Pepsi glove disc set. Candlestick Park was a dump, but it was my favorite dump. Say the same thing about the vet. I wouldn't have it any other way, man.
Yeah.
I just love the vet. I think you plan on a lot of people in this chat because we got people giving some love to Rush, which if anything parallels the baseball card hobby, it's the band Rush, because of most card shows are like going to a Rush concert where it's all dudes. And and Geddy Lee is a big baseball fan. I think Alex Lifeson is a big baseball fan. I remember them at the vet seeing a game. I remember hearing about it or watching it on TV where they were in the press box, which was kind of cool back in the 80s. Back in the Lance Parrish era.
Oh my gosh, Lance Parrish.
Man, I don't know about that, Stuke. It's that is a mausoleum. I went to a game there with about 3,000 other people, and it was cold and it was lonely. There was a guy out in right field beating on a drum, and that's a crazy stadium. Even when they were great, the A's, they weren't drawing a lot of people. Like I'm talking about the 70s when they won 3 in a row.
Right.
Stadium was half empty.
I was just reading something a couple of weeks ago that they still haven't figured out what's happening with that, whether they're going to transition to a new stadium or they're moving out of Oakland or what.
Well, that goes to show you my theory that's been proven over and over again the last couple decades is you can't lose money with a sports team, right? Like they're second fiddle in that market by a long shot. They don't have any live attendance, and yet they're still, I don't know if they're thriving, but the owner isn't selling out of distress. That's for sure.
Right. The lights are still on.
Lights are still on. Somebody was talking about them signing Otani, and Twitter's a funny place. So we said, 2 years from now or whatever, next year, Otani and Soto are going to Oakland or wherever Oakland will be.
Wow.
Bring them back to Philly, man. Put them right in the middle of North Philly.
That'd be incredible.
I'd buy season tickets.
Okay. Padres are trying to lose money with their payroll.
That's crazy. I don't understand that, man. They were always a small market team, right? And that roster's stacked for sure, man.
Yeah, just
Yeah, they were. I mean, I was not terribly afraid of them in the playoffs last year, though. So for as much money as they've spent, I don't know.
I guess that's a direct, that we know there's a lot of money in Southern California, but that's a direct assault on the Dodgers, I guess. Just opening up that wallet, to go after the Dodgers and the Dodgers only, I imagine.
Right. Don't worry, Mike. You'll get what you're asking for.
Got a shortstop who can hit now.
Yeah. And a bullpen.
That was a great story last year,
Yeah.
Manager takes over, and Harper have off-season surgery. Is that what happened?
He did, like the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And everyone's trying to guess when he'll come back. I wouldn't be surprised if he was back in like June.
Oh, it's that long term of an injury, huh?
Recovery time. Yeah, and it'll only be DHing, I think. I don't think he'll be able to take the field.
Well, they don't really need him if the other guys hold up.
Yeah, if Castellanos is over his mood swing.
It's a lot of hype. I read about him today, or saw him out and about today on the internets.
Yeah,
talking about getting his groove back. So let's see what happens. I think baseball is too long of a season. I know we say that and we think it, but I think it really needs to be explored. Because the records don't matter anymore. Like, be a ticker tape parade if anybody gets 20 wins or whatever in a season. It just doesn't matter anymore. So why not lessen the amount of games? We know why, because of revenue, but just like it's too much of a grind. It's like hockey, right? Hockey, nobody really pays attention the first half of the season until the playoffs and all that stuff.
Right.
Have a big tournament at the end of the year.
Dom, how are the Sox looking?
Well, we don't have a shortstop, but we do have a bullpen now, which should help us win some of those close games that we lost. I'm just hoping they don't finish in last again this year.
Don't you legally need two people on that side of the base now? If you say you don't have a shortstop, you better.
Yeah, Rafael Devers is just gonna swallow everything with his huge contract over there on the left.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That park, Lefty Grove had a 3.06 earned run average for his career. That park single-handedly took his ERA above 3 when he went to Boston. Left-handed pitcher in that stadium. Killed his chance of being the all-time greatest left-hander. That's before your time, Dom.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, Tony, this is so sad. I'm going to end up being a full-time Giants fan again. I think they will. The Athletics will go to Vegas. Yeah, that's a bummer.
That would suck. But you know what? How many? Is this the longest they've been in one town, the A's? It's pretty close, right?
Really good question. I think so.
57 years, maybe. 57 years. I don't know when because when was the American League founded? 1901. And then they moved in the mid to late 50s, 56 or something to KC. So they may have just broken the record for longevity in a town, but they've moved enough to to I don't know. They're kind of a transitory. There'll always be a transitory team, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a shame. Some of these, there's no history. If they go to Vegas, there's no history there, and I don't, it sucks. Correa's back. Yeah, Correa's back. Got his frequent flyer miles up this off season.
Well, I got a image from Reese here that I'll share with you guys because he wanted to prove his point. So here it is from The Sandlot. Here's
look at that, man.
Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Baseball trading cards. Can't really tell who it is.
Yeah. What's crazy is I wonder if it was the same pattern on every box, or because that's a lot of different boxes you'd have to print up if you had different players on each box.
Sure.
A lot of different printing plates, Love that. Wonder what year that is. I don't know.
The colors look like 62 to me.
This is something Jake from Legends Never Die needs to collect. He doesn't have this.
61 was all black.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you're right. 62 had the blue and the red.
So thanks, Reese.
Love to have a box of those right now. I'd even eat the cereal in there to have a box of those. And those were healthy cereals, those ones, unlike the 70s. They were probably Post. I don't know who did Post do. Was Post Raisin Bran? Kellogg's is Raisin Bran, I think. No.
And I don't know. Is it Kellogg's Raisin Bran? I think it's Kellogg's. Yeah. 62 is also the year of the movie, right?
You wouldn't get me out on a Sandlot. I'd be at the grocery store while all the boys were out there. I'd be running around a grocery store trying to get cards off of,
There's a debate going now, whether it's Kellogg's or Post. we can look it up, guys.
It's
right?
so simple. It's not.
Yeah.
This isn't a flat Earth
really
conversation. Yeah, we know. Oh gosh, my stupidity. I shouldn't say what's on my mind because it shows how dumb I am. What do you have? What do you have, Dom? You have. I'm sure you have the Yaz, right? I got a 62 Yaz Post back there somewhere.
But I have it, but I didn't bring it out.
Don't have it out. And how many years did they make the little Wheaties ones? I only have one of those. I have Bob Feller.
51 and 52.
Okay.
There you go. Boom.
That, man.
There's some great ones. I was looking at a Yogi Berra the other day, like taking his mask off and big on his face. It's great. I've got the Lou Gehrig, which is one of my favorite pieces.
Yeah, that one's sick.
They're almost the size of the 51 tops. Maybe they're a little smaller.
Yep.
How about the world famous dog food cards? Do you have any of those, Alex?
No, Red Hearts. No,
Red Hearts. Yeah.
Those are amazing. I was looking at a Richie Ashburn the other day, actually. But it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, one of these days. Tony worked for Kellogg's during the summer when in school. So naturally, the next question, Tony, is: did you steal any boxes? Do you have any in your collection?
Kellogg's were tough. They had to pack them. Later on, I guess they were in plastic, but they had to pack them in like paper, almost like wax paper, because as we know, Topps cards had to be edible, but Kellogg's 3D cards were not edible. So yeah, they had to put them in a little. I have like a couple Phil Necros in the little thin paper sheets back there that right out of the box.
Well, that's awesome. I guess the answer to Don's question is that he loves that 64 stand-up set. Yaz is a SP in that, so
Yeah,
and
he's got two of them. He's got two of them. That's why he's asking that question. I've got the Roberto Clemente stand-up, Don. So I don't know whether you do. I'll trade you the Roberto Clemente for one of your Yaz's. I bid on that all the time, man. All the time. That card, man. It's brutal. You have the greatest. I'm sure you have the greatest moments, right, Tom?
That's another one that's on my list.
Yeah.
That I'm just waiting to get one at a good price because they can get pretty crazy.
Yeah, I lucked out. I actually lucked out within the last couple months getting one. Yeah. My speaking of weird cards, my LCS is threatening to buy a 54 Bowman collection. It has all the guys in it, Ted Williams and everything. He showed me a picture of it. So he deals mostly in modern. I'm hoping to sneak that away from him. Hopefully I can get that. Well, you got the same answer out of both of us, Don. And any of the Venezuelan, I don't have any of the Venezuelan stuff, but that's kind of like, that's for Dom and I, that stuff's almost like Mickey Mantle, 52 Mantle territory,
Sure.
It's stuff's so tough to get. How about the Milton Bradley? Like, I know there's Nolan. I always hear about the Nolan Ryan Milton Bradleys, but I don't see anybody else. You ever see the Yaz Milton Bradley floating around?
He's not in it.
He's not in it. Okay.
Yeah. There's 77 baseball players in that game.
And he's
from
not
series
in
1
it.
and
Wow.
2. He's not one of them, no.
So they picked Jerry
right crew.
Kuzman, right? They picked Jerry Kuzman and Nolan Ryan, but they didn't pick the guy who won the Triple Crown the year before, which is crazy. Red Sox are a team. They just don't have a shortstop. So you're going to be talking soon to Mike Moynihan, I hear. Did I let the cat out of the bag, Alex?
I mean, I don't know that he really
Not
minds
official?
one way or the other. So sure, yeah.
That's gonna be fun, man. You're gonna get to talk about your children.
Yeah, I'm gonna explode. Too much to talk about in so little time to do it in, but it should be fun. I've tried to like start gathering notes to keep myself on track because it'll be all over the place. Yeah.
Do you have, and forgive me for not knowing this, do you have the 53 black and whites or just the color?
No, I never did black and white.
Okay.
I do want the Casey Stengel 53 Bowman black and white. I love that card. But I've never really looked at much of the other ones. It's never really caught me.
Yeah. I've got one, and I think that they were mostly mediocre talent, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
Other than Casey, I guess, right?
Yeah, like there's a handful of guys. I mean, I could look it up right now.
Yeah,
but,
Johnny Mize is in the black and white too.
Johnny Mize, okay.
Right. Not a lot of guys.
I've got Bill Rigney. That's the one I have, which doesn't set anybody's heart aflutter. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Beckett lists 53 Bowman color, 53 Bowman, and a 53 Bowman black and white.
Hoyt Wilhelm. I feel like there was at least a couple other guys. Johnny Mize, as you said, Virgil Trucks.
Mize, Gus Bell, Bob Lemon's in there, Johnny Sane, Preacher Rowe.
Preacher Rowe, yeah.
Is
I know those are
Slaughter
pretty expensive.
color or black and white?
Well, he's not listed. I'm in the black and white right now, and I Beckett allows me just to hit highest prices descending. So essentially that would be your stars, right? So he's not listed anywhere up in there. So I assume he's in the color, right?
Who
Yeah,
is?
Slaughter.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Ralph Franca's in black and white.
Yep. Yeah, they're the same year as the color, Mike.
Let's see here. They have the same backs.
Yeah. I have a theory, which I can't prove because Bowman doesn't exist anymore. But even though those cards are black and white, I don't think the photography was black and white. I think they just printed them black and white. So somewhere in some filing cabinet, there are the original color negatives of those black and whites, which if they were actually color cards, I would have collected, you know?
Yeah, because I think we all agree that it was a cost cutting move because the color set wiped them out essentially, right?
Yeah, that was part of it for sure.
Yeah,
and I'm not against black and white. I have lots of black and white cards just for whatever reason. I think it's because I know the photography from the color ones are so great that the black and whites are just such a letdown.
Yeah, and they wouldn't. It's not like they changed the roll of film out and put the black and white film in. Incidentally, it's vastly, hugely different than the 53 Bowman football, which is an art set. It's a beautiful set, but it's not photography, which is interesting. Or if it's photography, it's been enhanced by the paintbrush, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's some incredible Bowman football stuff from the 50s.
I think all around there was a lot of competition in the 60s as well. I mean, Philadelphia was competing with Topps. It was probably an even match. I just sold a 60 Topps Jim Brown today, which is a great card. Yeah, and the hockey cards too. I think I've been told they were all OPC back then, but still there's some beautiful hockey cards from back then too.
No, there are no there's actually one guy that appears twice in the color set, but there's nobody that appears in both the color and the black and white.
Well, when you say appears twice, there's several players that are on multiple cards, right?
Sure, right.
But you're saying somebody's got two individual.
A single player. Yeah. And I'll talk all about that with Mike. I'm spoiling everything.
I don't have the Mickey Mantle, but I do have the Mickey Mantle, Hank Bauer, and Yogi Berra card.
Sure, that one's cool.
Which is a great card, right? Is there another like a 2-player Yankee card in there as well?
Yeah, Billy Martin and Phil Rizzuto.
Right, gotcha. Good old Bowman. I don't know what part of town they were from, but I know Fleer was in Olney, near where I was born. I don't know where they made Bowman cards.
Yeah, no. There's a factory that they worked with. Oh shoot, I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's still standing in Philly. Huh. It's abandoned. But yeah, I'll have to get all that together for the talk with Mike.
I think Cooter Lev's got the full set. He might have both sets. He might have the color and the black and white. Could be wrong. He's got a lot of Bowman 50 stuff.
I mostly agree with you here, Josh. Everything was made better in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, wow. That's great. We got to get you the 53 Bowman football set now, Tom. There's only 94 of them.
All right, guys. Probably a good place for us to wrap it up. Dom and John, both, thank you so much for jumping in. It was fun.
Thanks for letting me in. I mean, Dom is way more knowledgeable, but thanks for letting me in along for the ride. Appreciate it, man.
Cool. We'll do it again.
I appreciate you having me on. This was fun.
Yeah, for sure. See you guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night.